Hello, guys. This is for sixth grade, and I want to just kind of give a little, maybe 5 to 10 minute, maybe, I don't know, we'll see how long this goes here. I want to kind of go over that little missing little that little time of information there that I was attempting to get through earlier this morning. I just want to kind of get through that and explain it. I don't want to give you guys the short end of the stick right there. Um, so like for sixth grade here, I'm going to be talking here, dealing with, relating fractions, decimals, and percents. I talked about it at the end of the stream kind of quickly. I feel I didn't really get that very, definitively. The other part is dealing with, percents greater than 100 or less than one. Okay. I want to kind of go through this, but I want to go through it, again, kind of quickly. But if you have your packet, this is where you would get this out. And if you were live with me, that's what we would do. Um, sorry. So we're dealing with changing a decimal to a fraction, or a decimal to a percent, or a fraction to a percent, or percent to a decimal, or so on and so forth. If I'm going from a decimal, I know I was dealing with one, two, and I think I did those three during the live stream. So I want to get let's do number four. So number four is a little bit more, not difficult, but it's just kind of, it takes an extra step with this. So if I had the fraction 7 over 8, so if I have the fraction 7 over 8, okay, and I want to change that to a decimal, the easy part first, in my opinion, the easy part. If you had your calculator, in front of you, you would just simply put divide. Divide 7 divided by 8, and you would get that decimal. You would get that decimal of point, if I remember that right, was 0.875. So 7/8, that's 7/8 as a decimal would be 0.875. So to then change that decimal to a percent, so decimal to percent, you're looking at me, I'm taking that decimal and I'm moving it two to the to the right. Two to the right. Okay. I'm moving that decimal two to the right. 1, 2, which will then make it as 87.5%. Okay. Fraction to a decimal to a percent. That's how that looks right there. Okay. Make sure I'm still not talking for more than, there we go. Okay, cool. So in the instance of, say, number 6 right here, so number 6, if I have 7% and I want to change that to a decimal, if it's 7%, know that it's like saying I'm at 7.0%. I'm then taking that decimal and then moving it 2 to the left. Percent to decimal is 2 to the left. Decimal to percent is 2 to the right. One thing to remember with that, I'm going to move that 2 to the left, which will make it 0.07 as a decimal. And again, as I said during the live stream, if I verbalize what I see here, it'll help me to actually create the fraction. That is 7/100 on this. So 7/100, or 7 over 100, would be the way you would write that as a fraction. Okay, that's changing percent to a decimal, decimal to a fraction. I mean, if I were to say, could you change 7% to a fraction? I mean, you would follow the steps that we just did. Okay. Let me do another one here. This off. So if I have 0.55 and I wanted to change 0.55 to a percent, decimal to a percent is going to be 2 to the right on this. So 2 to the right. That 0.55 now becomes 55%. If I remember that percent is dealing with over 100, percent is in relation to 100. So as a fraction, what did I just say on this? A percent is a rate that compares a part to 100. So if I have 55%, if I have 55% in this instance, there we go. If I have 55%, it's going to be simply 55 over 100. Would we reduce the fraction? Of course. We could divide 5 into 55 and give us 11. Divide 5 into 100 and give us 20. That is the reduced fraction right there. Okay. That is dealing with 6-2 on that instance. Let me quickly get to number 7 says, well, one piece of wheat bread contains 2 grams of fiber, or 8% of the amount of fiber that most people need in a day. What is 8%? So, like, this, I love questions that do this, because pretty much this question's giving you all of this like extra garble, when really the only important part is, well, what is 8% as a decimal and as a fraction? So if I had 8% here, 8% as a fraction, you know that it is 8 over 100, 8 over 100. Could I reduce that? I can divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2. 2 is a factor of both. It'll give us 4 over 25. I'm reducing the fraction is what I just did there. Now taking that fraction and turning it into a decimal, simply put, I am dividing 4 divided by 25, and it'll give us a decimal, and I'm going to kind of go over here with this, a decimal of 0.16. Okay, that's 6-2. I hope that's a little bit better of information than what I was giving there because of internet and stuff. But again, this I'll go into a little bit more tomorrow. But again, it works the same way. Percents that are greater than 100 or less than 1. Like if I were to say relate 140% as a fraction and a decimal, as a decimal. If you got 140% on a test, that means you got more than what was more than the available part. Like if you had a 20 out of 15 on a test, you had like 5 extra points. That's extra points. That's more than 100. That's one way of looking at that. Okay, so if I have 140%, well, as a fraction, it's still 140 over 100 as that, as that fraction. As a decimal, I then simply just take 140 divided by 100, and our decimal is going to be 1.4 on that. Okay. And can we reduce this? Yes, we could to save time. On that, we can take the number 20. 20 is a factor of both 140. 20 is the greatest common factor of 140 and 100. If I divide 20 going into 140, it'll give me 7. 20 goes into 100 5 times. That is our reduced fraction. Okay. All right. Again, I think you can kind of take a look at the left here. You can take a look at the left, the explanations that you have right here to complete that other part of the packet there. I'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. I'll go quickly into that, but we're going to do the same thing. I'll try not to, hopefully, deal with technology as much as it is, as I say that so many times. Yeah, about 10 minutes. Okay, pretty good there. I'll have this uploaded. This will be the missing part that we did, the little 10 minutes that we're missing. But other than that, again, stay safe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.